The ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. Captain Yuna stood at the window and watched the giant space station come closer. It was called Eternity Prime. It was the largest thing humans had ever seen. Millions of lights covered its surface like stars. "We are almost there," said Lieutenant Tai Wu from behind her. He was a young man with kind eyes and a sharp mind. He studied alien languages and cultures. This was the most important day of his life. Yuna turned to face him. She was a woman of 40 years. Her hair was tied back tight. Her uniform was perfect. But inside she felt afraid. Today, humanity would meet the Galactic Council for the first time. 47 alien races would judge if humans were worthy to join them. "Are you ready?" she asked Tai Wu. He smiled nervously. "I have studied their languages for 10 years, but speaking to them in person, that is different." The ship docked with a soft sound. The doors opened. Cold air rushed in. It smelled strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. 2 guards waited for them. They were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were black and empty. They said nothing. They simply turned and walked, expecting the humans to follow. Yuna and Tai Wu walked through long hallways. The walls were covered with strange symbols and pictures. Tai Wu looked at everything carefully. His eyes stopped on one wall. He frowned but kept walking. They entered the council chamber. It was enormous. The ceiling was so high that Yuna could not see it. Seats rose up in circles, hundreds of them, filled with aliens of every shape and size. Some had scales, some had fur. Some looked like nothing Yuna had ever imagined. All of them looked down at the 2 small humans standing in the center. A voice boomed through the chamber. "The humans may speak." Yuna stepped forward. Her heart was beating fast, but her voice was steady. "Thank you for this honor. I am Captain Yuna, representative of Earth. We come in peace. We wish to learn from you and share what we know. We ask to join the Galactic Council as friends and partners." Silence followed her words. Then came the laughter. It started small, from one corner of the chamber. Then it spread. Soon, hundreds of aliens were laughing. The sound echoed off the walls. It was not friendly laughter. It was the laughter of those who think they are better than you. A creature descended from the highest seat. He was old. His skin was pale blue and covered with thin lines like cracks in ice. His eyes glowed with ancient light. This was High Arbiter Velkos, leader of the Scythian Empire. His people had existed for 12 million years. "Little human," Velkos said. His voice was soft, but it filled the entire chamber. "Do you know how old my species is? 12 million years. Do you know how old yours is? Your civilization is barely 10,000 years old. You learned to fly only 200 years ago. You discovered this technology by accident. You are children. No, you are infants. You cannot even crawl yet, and you wish to walk among us?" More laughter filled the chamber. Yuna felt her face grow hot. She wanted to argue. She wanted to defend her people, but she stayed silent. This was diplomacy. She had to be patient. Another alien spoke. This one was Delegate Morth from the Dren Collective. He looked like a giant insect with wings that sparkled like diamonds. "Perhaps we can allow them observer status. Let them watch and learn. In a few million years, they might be ready to actually participate." The council voted. It took only moments. Humanity was granted observer status. They could watch. They could not speak. They could not vote. They were guests, nothing more. As they prepared to leave, Velkos spoke one more time. "Go home, little humans. Grow up. Come back when you have something to offer the galaxy besides curiosity." Yuna bowed politely. "Thank you for your time." She turned and walked out. Tai Wu followed. Neither of them spoke until they were back in their ship. "That was humiliating," Yuna said finally. Her hands were shaking with anger. But Taiwu was not listening. He was looking at his tablet, scrolling through pictures he had taken secretly in the hallways. "Captain," he said. His voice was strange. "Look at this." He showed her a picture of the symbols on the wall. They were ancient markings, carved into stone millions of years ago. "What am I looking at?" Yuna asked. Taiwu zoomed in on one symbol. "This is old Korean. Very old. Older than any Korean writing we have ever found on Earth. I have seen this symbol only once before, in a cave beneath the mountains of my homeland. Archaeologists said it was 50,000 years old. They said it was meaningless, just random marks." Yuna stared at the symbol. "That is impossible. Humans have never been here before." "I know," Taiwu said quietly. "That is what makes this so interesting. These symbols are everywhere on that station, and they are not copies or accidents. Someone who spoke an ancient form of Korean was here. They were here millions of years before our civilization even began." Yuna sat down slowly. Her mind was racing. "What are you saying?" Taiwu looked at her with serious eyes. "I am saying that maybe they are wrong. Maybe we are not the newcomers. Maybe we are something else entirely. Something much older than anyone remembers." Yuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she made a decision. "Change our course," she said. "We are not going home. Not yet. I want to know the truth. If there's even a small chance that our history is wrong, we need to find out." Taiwu nodded. "Where do we start?" Yuna looked out at the stars. "We start by finding where those symbols came from, and we do it quietly. Because if we are right, everything the galaxy believes is a lie." The ship turned and flew into the darkness. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued their business. They thought the humans were going home in shame. They were wrong. 3 months passed after the humiliation at the Galactic Council. Captain Yuna and her crew searched quietly. They asked questions. They looked at old records. They found nothing useful. Then everything changed. A message arrived from Earth. Dr. Jisoo, a famous archaeologist, had news. She had found something under the mountains of Korea. Something that should not exist. "It is a structure," Jisoo explained through the video screen. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had spent her whole life digging in the dirt, looking for the past. "It goes deep into the earth. The rock around it is 500 million years old. But the structure is older than the rock." Yuna leaned forward. "How is that possible?" "It is not possible," Jisoo said. "That is why I contacted you. The symbols inside match the ones Lieutenant Taiwu sent me. Someone built this place before dinosaurs walked the earth, and they wrote in a language that became Korean." Before Yuna could respond, Ensign Do-hyun rushed onto the bridge. He was young and always excited. He handled navigation but loved history even more. "Captain," he shouted, "you need to see this. A Scythian research team found something on a dead planet called Korath 7. The images leaked onto the network. Look." He put the images on the main screen. Everyone went silent. It was a building. A massive building made of black stone. It sat alone on a gray desert planet. Nothing else was there. Just this one structure, standing proud against the empty sky. And on its walls were symbols. The same symbols. "Korath 7 is forbidden," Taiwu said quietly. "Only the elder races can go there. They say it is too dangerous for younger species." Yuna smiled. It was not a happy smile. "Then we will go without permission." The journey took 2 weeks. They traveled through empty space, avoiding patrol routes. Do-hyun guided them perfectly. He knew how to read star maps better than anyone. Finally, they reached Korath 7. It was ugly. The surface was brown and dead. No water. No life. Just dust and rock and silence. The black building stood in the center of a vast plain. Up close, it was even larger than the images showed. It reached toward the sky like a finger pointing at the stars. There are no guards, Taiwo observed. No ships. The Scythians must not know we are here. They landed near the entrance. The door was open. It had been open for a very long time. Dust covered everything. Yuna, Taiwu, Jisoo, and Do-hyun stepped inside. The air was cold and still. Their footsteps echoed in the darkness. Lights turned on. One by one, down a long hallway. Someone, or something, knew they were there. They followed the lights. The walls were covered with writing. Jisoo touched the symbols gently. "This is incredible," she whispered. "This writing tells a story. A story of beings who traveled between stars when our planet was just a ball of fire. They reached a large chamber. In the center floated a sphere of blue light. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. A voice spoke. It came from everywhere and nowhere. 'You have returned.' Everyone froze. Yuna stepped forward carefully. 'Who are you?' 'I am Keeper Threll. I am the guardian of this place. I have waited for the returners for 500 million years. Returners? Taiwo asked. What do you mean? The blue sphere grew brighter. Images appeared in the air. Pictures of beings that looked almost human, but taller and more graceful. They built cities on 1,000 worlds. They flew ships between galaxies. They were magnificent. They called themselves the First Walkers, Thrall explained. They were the first intelligent beings in this universe. They explored every corner of existence. They discovered secrets that current civilizations cannot imagine. And then they made a choice. What choice? Yuna asked. They chose to disappear. The images changed. They showed the First Walkers destroying their own cities, burning their own records, flying away to unknown places. They believed their power was too dangerous. Thrall continued. They had weapons that could destroy stars. They had fought wars among themselves that almost broke the universe. So they decided to start again. They seeded primitive versions of themselves on many worlds. They erased their own memories. They let evolution begin fresh. Jisoo covered her mouth with her hand. Earth. They went to Earth. Yes, Earth was special. It was the control group. The purest strain. Other seeded worlds evolved differently. They became the Scythians. The Dren. The 100 other species that now rule the galaxy. But humans remained closest to the original. Thrall's light focused on the human visitors. Scanning them. Genetic match confirmed. You are descendants of the First Walkers. You are not newcomers. You are the oldest. You have simply forgotten. Silence filled the chamber. The weight of this truth was almost too heavy to bear. Do-hyun laughed nervously. So when the Scythians called us infants, they were actually the children? We are their ancestors? In a manner of speaking, yes. Yuna tried to process this information. Everything she knew about human history was wrong. Everything the galaxy believed was wrong. Is there proof? She asked. Proof that we can show the Council? There is the memory vault, Thrall said. It contains the complete history and technology of the First Walkers. Everything they knew. Everything they built. It is hidden in a place called Origin. I can give you the coordinates. Why did you not give this information to the Scythians? Taiwo asked. They came here too. They did not have the genetic key. The memory vault was locked for human eyes only. The First Walkers planned this. They knew that one day, their true children would return. They wanted only humans to have this knowledge. A small device appeared from the sphere. It floated toward Yuna. She caught it in her hand. It felt warm, like it was alive. This contains the coordinates, Thrall said. But I must warn you, when you access the memory vault, every advanced species in the galaxy will know. They will detect the energy signature. Some will be curious. Others will be afraid. Many will come with weapons. Yuna looked at her crew. Their faces showed fear and wonder and determination. They had come looking for truth. They had found something bigger than truth. Thank you, Keeper Thrall, Yuna said. We will use this wisely. I hope so. The first walkers gave up everything for a second chance. Do not waste it. They walked back to their ship in silence. Each of them was lost in thought. The universe had just become a much stranger place. As they lifted off from Car 7, Yuna made a call to Earth. Admiral Hyunsu, she said when the connection opened. I need to speak with you privately. What I am about to tell you will change everything. On the screen, the old admiral raised an eyebrow. Captain Yuna, this had better be good. She smiled grimly. Sir, it is either very good or very bad. I have not decided yet. But either way, humanity needs to prepare. We are about to discover who we really are. The coordinates led them to empty space. There was nothing there. No planets. No stations. Just darkness and distant stars. Are we sure this is correct? Dahyun asked, checking his instruments again. The coordinates are exact, Taiwu confirmed. But there is nothing here. Dr. Myra stepped forward. She was new to the crew, a quantum physicist from Seoul. Admiral Hyunsu had sent her to help understand whatever technology they might find. She was brilliant but quiet, preferring numbers to words. Wait, she said. I am detecting something strange. The space here is folded, bent, like someone wrapped reality around a hidden object. She worked at her console for several minutes. Then she smiled. Found it. I need to send a specific signal. The device Keeper Thrall gave us contains the frequency. She transmitted the signal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then space itself opened. It was like watching a flower bloom in fast motion. The darkness peeled back to reveal a planetoid. It was small, about the size of Earth's moon, and it glowed with soft golden light. Buildings covered its surface. Towers and domes and structures that hurt the eyes to look at because they seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. Origin, Yuna breathed. It is real. They flew down to the surface. A landing pad seemed to appear just for them, rising from the ground as they approached. Everything here responded to their presence. The planetoid was alive, in a way. It had been sleeping for 500 million years, and now it was waking up. They stepped out onto solid ground that felt warm beneath their feet. The air was perfect. Not too hot, not too cold. It smelled clean, like rain on fresh leaves. A path of light appeared before them. They followed it to a massive building at the center of everything. The doors opened as they approached. Inside was the largest library Yuna had ever seen. It was not filled with books. Instead, crystals floated in the air, millions of them, each one containing information, knowledge, memories. And in the center of this vast space stood figures made of light. They looked human, but older somehow, wiser, sadder. We are the remnant, they spoke as one voice. We are the last thoughts of the first walkers, preserved here to guide those who came after. Yuna bowed respectfully. We have many questions. We know, and we will answer all of them. But first, you must understand why we did what we did. The room changed. Suddenly, they were not standing in a library. They were floating in space, watching history unfold. They saw the first walkers at their peak. Their civilization spanned entire galaxies. They had solved every problem. Disease, death, hunger, energy. They could reshape planets with a thought. They could travel anywhere instantly. They had become like gods. We had everything, the remnant said, and it destroyed us. The vision darkened. Wars erupted between factions of First Walkers. Not over resources or territory, but over philosophy. How should godlike power be used? Some wanted to control everything. Others wanted to leave the universe alone. The arguments became battles. The battles became massacres. We created weapons that could destroy stars. We used them. Entire star systems were erased. Billions of lives lost in moments. And we could not stop. Our power had made us arrogant. We had forgotten how to be humble. One terrible image showed a weapon that nearly tore the universe apart. A crack in reality itself, spreading like a wound. We almost ended everything. Not just ourselves. Everything. Every star. Every planet. Every possibility of life anywhere. The vision faded. They were back in the library. So we made a choice. The remnant continued. We could not trust ourselves with this power. No one should have it. But we could not simply destroy our knowledge. It was too precious. So we hid it. And we hid ourselves. Dr. Myra is taking notes frantically. The genetic seeding program. You spread primitive versions of yourselves across thousands of worlds. Yes, we erased our memories. We let ourselves evolve again from the beginning. We hoped that growing up slowly, struggling to survive, would teach us what we had forgotten. Humility, compassion, the value of life. Did it work? Taiwo asked. We do not know. That is why you are here. You are the test. You grew up without our knowledge, without our power. Now you have found this place. What you do next will answer our question. The crystals began to glow brighter. Information flowed into the room like water. We offer you everything. Every technology. Every secret. Every discovery from 2 billion years of civilization. You can have it all. Admiral Hyun-soo had joined them via hologram from Earth's secret defense fleet. He was a serious man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had prepared for many things in his military career, but nothing like this. This technology, he said carefully. How powerful is it? With this knowledge, you could defeat every other civilization in the galaxy within a week. You could reshape planets, build weapons that make current nuclear bombs look like toys. You could become what we were. Or, Yuna asked, sensing there was more. Or you could use it differently. You could share it, teach others, build something new together. But that would require trust. And the other species will be afraid. They will attack you when they learn the truth. As if on cue, alarms sounded throughout the planetoid. They are coming, the remnant announced. The energy signature of this place has been detected. Ships are approaching. Many ships. Hyun-soo checked his tactical display. His face went pale. The Scythian Empire. Their entire war fleet. How did they get here so fast? They have been waiting for this day for millions of years, the remnant explained. The Scythians were created as caretakers. They were meant to protect the galaxy until humans were ready. But they forgot their purpose. They began to believe they were the true elders. Now they see you as a threat to everything they believe. Through the walls of the library, they could see the sky filling with ships. Thousands of them. Tens of thousands. The largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. We cannot fight that, Do-hyun said, his voice shaking. Dr. Myra was still connected to the database. Her eyes moved rapidly as information flowed into her mind. Wait, there is something here. It is not a weapon. It is something else. Something that speaks to genetics. To memory. The awakening protocol, the remnant said. It was designed for this moment. When the children of the first walkers reunite, this device can remind them all who they truly are. Every species that carries first walker genes will remember. They will see the truth. Will it stop them from attacking? Hyunsu asked. We do not know. It has never been used. It might unite them, or it might make them angrier. The choice is yours. Yuna looked at her crew. At Mireille, still absorbing knowledge. At Taiwu, standing calm despite the danger. At Doyen, young and scared but determined. At Jisu, who had started this journey in a cave and now stood at the center of the universe's greatest secret. Download everything you can, she told Mireille. We need options. I am trying. There is so much. It would take years to understand all of it. Focus on the awakening protocol. If we survive the next hour, we can study the rest later. The Scythian fleet moved closer. Soon they would be within weapon range. Hyunsu made a decision. Captain Yuna, I am bringing Earth's defense fleet here. It is not much against those numbers, but we will not let humanity's last hope die without a fight. Understood, Admiral. Outside, the first Scythian ships began to charge their weapons. The golden light of origin flickered. The remnant spoke one final time. Whatever happens next, remember this. We gave up everything because we loved the universe more than ourselves. You are our second chance. Our hope that intelligence can exist without destroying itself. Do not fail. Not for our sake. For the sake of everyone who will come after you. Yuna straightened her uniform. Her fear was gone now. Only determination remained. We will not fail, she said. We are human. We have been through worse than this and survived. We will survive again. The stars outside filled with fire as the battle for humanity's future began. The broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy. Captain Yuna stood before a camera as Origin burned around her. Scythian weapons had begun hitting the planetoid shields. Each impact shook the ground. But she spoke calmly. She spoke clearly. She spoke the truth. My name is Yuna. I am human. And I am here to tell you that everything you believe is wrong. Across 1,000,000 worlds, beings stopped what they were doing. They watched their screens. They listened. The Scythians are not the oldest civilization. Neither are the Dren, or the Valkyrie, or any of the other elder races. Humanity is not a newcomer. We are the descendants of the first walkers, the original species who explored the universe before any of you existed. She held up a crystal filled with data. This is proof. Genetic records. Historical documents. Archaeological evidence. Every species in this galaxy was created by the first walkers or evolved from their seeding programs. You are all our children, our family. We forgot each other. But the truth was waiting here on Origin for 500 million years. The broadcast ended. Yuna took a deep breath. Now they would see what happened. The reaction was immediate and violent. On the Scythian homeworld, High Arbiter Velkos watched the message in silence. His ancient face showed no emotion. When it finished, he stood slowly. Lies, he said. Human lies. They have found some old records and twisted them for their own purposes. The Scythians are the true elders. We have always been. But even as he spoke, his scientists were checking the data. And one by one, their faces went pale. High Arbiter, one scientist whispered. The genetic markers match. Our DNA contains sequences that are identical to human DNA, and those sequences are older than our recorded history. Velkos struck the scientist across the face. Silence. You will speak of this to no one. But the information was already spreading. Millions of Scythians had seen the broadcast. They were checking the data themselves. They were asking questions that had never been asked before. Across the galaxy, chaos erupted. Some species demanded more proof. Scientists worked through the night, comparing their own genetic records to the broadcast data. Every test confirmed the same thing. The humans were telling the truth. Other species refused to believe. The Dren Collective declared the broadcast a fake. The Volcari Dominion called it an act of war. Fear and anger spread like fire. And in the dark spaces between stars, war fleets began to move. Grand Marshal Zendos of the Scythian Empire gave his orders from the bridge of his flagship. He was an old warrior with scars covering his blue skin. He had fought in 100 battles. He had never lost. All ships will converge on Earth, he commanded. We will destroy the human homeworld. We will burn their colonies. We will erase every trace of this lie from the universe. 50,000 warships acknowledged his command. They came from 30 different species, all united by fear. If the humans were truly the first walkers returned, then everything these civilizations had built was built on a false foundation. Their pride, their history, their entire identity. They could not allow that truth to exist. On Earth, Commander Yunji watched the approaching fleet from the defense center in Seoul. She was young for her rank, only 35 years old. But she had earned her position through skill and courage. 50,000 ships, she said quietly. And we have 300. We cannot win, her advisor said. We should negotiate, surrender. Perhaps they will show mercy. They will not show mercy, Yunji replied. They are afraid. Afraid people do not show mercy. They destroy what they fear. She opened a channel to all human ships. This is Commander Yunji. I will not order you to die for a losing battle. Any ship that wants to run, run now. No one will blame you. No ships ran. Every captain responded the same way. We stand with Earth. Yunji felt tears in her eyes, but she did not let them fall. Then let us give them a fight they will never forget. Meanwhile, Councillor Borum was trying desperately to find a peaceful solution. She was a diplomat, trained in words rather than weapons. She had spent her career building bridges between cultures. Now she broadcast a message to the approaching fleet. Please listen to me. We are not your enemies. We do not want to conquer you. We do not want to rule you. We only want the truth to be known. Is that so terrible? Is truth worth destroying a whole planet? Most ships ignored her message. But some captains hesitated. Some wondered if maybe, just maybe, there was another way. Grand Marshal Zendos saw the hesitation in his fleet. He could not allow doubt to spread. Anyone who refuses to fight will be executed for treason, he announced. The humans are a disease. We are the cure. Now, do your duty. The fleet moved forward. Earth grew larger on their screens. Blue and green and white, so small against the darkness of space. So fragile. On Origin, Dr. Myrie had finally finished downloading the Awakening Protocol. Her mind was filled with knowledge she barely understood. But she understood enough. Captain Yuna, she said, I have it. The device is ready. But I do not know what will happen when we activate it. Explain it to me, Yuna said. The first walkers put genetic memory into every species they created. It is buried deep, below conscious thought. The Awakening Protocol sends a signal that unlocks this memory. Everyone affected will see visions of the past. They will remember what their ancestors experienced. And that will stop them? Maybe. Or maybe it will make things worse. The memories are not all peaceful. There are wars in there. Terrible things. If people see only the violence, they might become more violent themselves. Admiral Hyamsu joined the conversation from his ship. We are out of options. The Scythian fleet will reach Earth in 6 hours. We cannot stop them with weapons. This is our only chance. Yuna made her decision. Send the device to Earth. Commander Yunji will activate it when the time is right. How will she know when that is? She will know. The device was transmitted instantly using First Walker technology. Yunji received it in her command center. It appeared as a simple bracelet, but it hummed with power older than the stars. She put it on her wrist. It felt warm, like holding hands with someone who loved you. Outside Earth's atmosphere, the Scythian fleet arrived. 50,000 ships darkened the sky. Their weapons powered up. The planet waited to die. Grand Marshal Xennos gave the final order. Fire. Beams of energy shot toward Earth. In seconds, everything would burn. Yunji closed her eyes and activated the awakening protocol. Light exploded outward from Earth. It moved faster than any weapon. It passed through shields like they were not there. It touched every ship in the fleet. It touched every being on every world connected to the broadcast network. And then the memories came. On the Scythian flagship, Grand Marshal Xennos fell to his knees. He saw visions of the first walkers creating his ancestors. He saw them designed as caretakers, given one sacred duty: protect the galaxy until the true children returned. He saw millions of years pass, and he saw his species forget their purpose, forget where they came from, forget everything except pride. Across the fleet, similar scenes played out. Dren pilots saw themselves being born in First Walker laboratories. Valkyrie captains remembered ancient songs in languages they should not know. Every species experienced their own creation, their own truth. Some wept, some screamed. Some could not process what they were seeing. The weapons stopped firing. Ships drifted in confusion. On Earth, Yunji opened her eyes. The bracelet had stopped humming. The light had faded. She looked at her screens. The enemy fleet was still there, but nothing was moving. Now we wait, she said quietly. Now we see what kind of people they choose to be. The galaxy held its breath. The next few hours would decide everything. The galaxy was silent. 50,000 ships floated above Earth, their crews still recovering from the visions. Some had collapsed. Some were crying. Some just stared at nothing, trying to understand what they had seen. On the Scythian flagship, Grand Marshal Xennos rose slowly from the floor. His face was wet with tears. For the first time in his long life, he did not know what to do. "Sir?" His second-in-command asked carefully. "Your orders?" Xennos looked at his hands. In the vision, he had seen those same hands millions of years ago, belonging to a First Walker scientist. That scientist had carefully designed the Scythian genetic code. He had given them long lives so they could be patient. He had given them strong bodies so they could protect others. He had given them pride so they would never abandon their duty. But pride had become arrogance. Protection had become domination. The Scythians had forgotten everything. "Contact the human vessel," Xennos said quietly. "Not a weapon channel. A communication channel. I want to speak with whoever is in charge." Half his captains refused the order. They broke formation and fled into deep space, unable to accept what they had learned. But the other half remained, and many ships from other species did the same. They did not attack. They waited. On Earth, President Sujin received a communication request in her office. She was an older woman with kind eyes and silver hair. She had been president for only 2 years. She had never expected to face the end of the world. She accepted the call. Grand Marshal Xennos appeared on her screen. His face was broken. All his certainty was gone. "President of Earth," he said, "I have seen the truth. My people have served a lie for 12 million years. We were supposed to protect you. We were supposed to help you grow. Instead, we mocked you. We threatened you. We tried to destroy you. Sujin said nothing. She simply listened. I do not ask for forgiveness, Xendos continued. What we did cannot be forgiven. But I ask you this, what do you want? You have the power of the first walkers now. You could destroy us easily. You could rule the galaxy. You could take revenge for every insult, every humiliation. No one would be able to stop you. Sujin considered her words carefully. Billions of humans were watching. This moment would define humanity's future. Grand Marshal, she said finally, you are right. We could destroy you. The technology we found could turn every Scythian world to dust in hours. We could make you pay for what you did. Xennos lowered his head. I understand. Do what you must. I was not finished, Sujin said gently. We could do all of those things. But we will not. Xendos looked up, confused. The first walkers had all the power in the universe. And that power destroyed them. They killed each other. They almost ended everything. So they gave it up. They chose to start again as children, hoping that the next time would be different. Sujin stood up from her chair. We will not repeat their mistake. We did not struggle for 10,000 years just to become tyrants. We did not survive ice ages and plagues and wars just to make others suffer. Humanity has always been at its best when we help each other, when we build together, when we forgive. But we tried to kill you, Xendos said. Just minutes ago, we fired on your planet. Yes, and that hurt. That scared us. But fear and pain should not make us cruel. They should remind us why cruelty is wrong. High Arbiter Velkos had been listening from his homeworld. Now his face appeared on the screen beside Xendos. He looked smaller somehow, older. The pride was gone from his eyes. What do you want from us? He asked. Tell us, and we will do it. Sujin smiled sadly. We do not want anything from you. We want something with you. The first walkers left us all a gift. A second chance to do things right. Let us not waste it. She held up her hands, showing they were empty. No weapons. No demands. No revenge. Just an invitation. Come sit with us. Talk with us. Learn with us. We have 500 million years of lost history to rediscover. Let us do it together, as a family. The silence stretched across space. Millions of beings on thousands of worlds heard her words. And slowly, something began to change. The first ship to approach Earth peacefully was a small Scythian science vessel. Its captain was young, barely an adult by Scythian standards. She transmitted a simple message. We accept your invitation. Others followed. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Ships that had come to destroy Earth now formed a ring of peace around it. Their weapons powered down. Their shields opened. They waited to see what would happen next. On Origin, the Remnant watched through sensors that spanned the galaxy. For the first time in 500 million years, they felt something like hope. Dr. Murray stood before them. Is this what you wanted? Is this the answer to your question? We wanted to know if intelligence could exist without destroying itself, the Remnant replied. We wanted to know if our sacrifice was worth it. Today, we have seen something we never saw during our time. Enemies becoming friends. Power being rejected for compassion. Fear being answered with kindness. Their forms flickered, growing fainter. Our purpose is complete. The knowledge remains here for all who wish to learn. Use it wisely. Share it equally. And never forget what we gave up and why. The Remnant faded away. They had waited 500 million years to see this day. Now they could finally rest. 1 year later, the Galactic Council met again. The chamber looked different now. The seats were arranged in a circle, not a hierarchy. No one sat above anyone else. Representatives from every species talked and laughed together like old friends. Ambassador Yuna walked to the center. She still wore her captain's uniform, though she had a new title now. Some things were worth keeping. "Thank you all for coming," she said. "1 year ago, we discovered the truth about our shared past. Today, I propose we decide our shared future." She activated a display showing the memory vault on Origin. The first walkers left us everything they knew. Technology that could cure any disease. Energy systems that would never run out. Methods to travel between galaxies in seconds. This knowledge belongs to all of us equally. There will be those who want to use this powerful war, Delegate Morith observed. He was the same Dren representative who had mocked humans at the first meeting. Now he spoke with respect. "How do we prevent that?" "We cannot prevent it completely," Yuna admitted. "But we can make peace more attractive than war. The Reunification Initiative will share all discoveries equally with every species. No one will gain advantage by fighting. The only way to move forward is together." The vote was unanimous. For the first time in galactic history, every species agreed on something. After the meeting, Yuna found Lieutenant Taiwu standing by a window. He was looking at the symbols on the wall. The same symbols that had started everything. "You know," Taiwu said, "I used to think those symbols were a mystery. Something to be solved. Now I realize they were a message. A message from our ancestors, waiting for us to be ready to hear it." "What did the message say?" Taiwu smiled. "It said, remember who you are. Remember what matters. Remember that you are not alone." On Earth, Dr. Jisoo returned to her work. But now she had help. Scientists from 20 species joined her excavation. Together they uncovered sites older than anyone had imagined. Each discovery taught them more about the beings who had come before. Admiral Hyun-soo commanded a fleet where Scythians served alongside humans. Former enemies trained together, ate together, laughed together. Old wounds slowly healed. High Arbiter Velkos gave up his title. He did not want power anymore. He became a simple teacher, traveling to schools across the galaxy, telling children the true story of their origins. He was happier than he had ever been. And in a small village in Korea, where mountains touched the clouds and rivers sang through valleys, there was a burial mound. Archaeologists now knew it was 500 million years old, not 5,000. Inside rested the remains of the last first walkers to live on Earth, the ones who had chosen to stay and watch over humanity's beginning. Dr. Jisoo visited this place often. She would bring flowers and sit quietly, just thinking. One day, her daughter came with her. The little girl was only 7 years old. She did not fully understand what the burial mound meant, but she understood that it was important. "Mommy," the girl asked, "who is buried here?" Jisoo thought about how to answer. How do you explain 500 million years of history to a child? "Our family," she said finally. "Very old family. They took a long journey and got lost. But we found them again. And now we will never forget them." The girl nodded seriously. She placed her small flower on the mound beside her mother's larger one. Above them, the sky was filled with ships from 100 worlds. They came and went peacefully, trading and learning and exploring. The galaxy that had once been divided by fear was slowly becoming united by hope. It would not be easy. There would be setbacks and arguments and difficult moments ahead. Some species would struggle to let go of old hatreds. Some individuals would try to misuse the first walker technology. The future would require constant work, constant vigilance, constant hope. But humanity had been doing that for 10,000 years already. They knew how to struggle. They knew how to survive. And now they knew something else too. They were not alone. They never had been. The stars were full of family, waiting to be reunited.